Okay, so what you're doing with these questions is you're trying to find what 1% would be worth. Okay, you've got to find the total of maybe 1%. And if you can find the total of 1%, then you can find the rest of any total. All right, 72%, 100%. Brode, if you can just pay attention. All right, so essentially what you're always constantly doing is you're saying, so I had 40 mils and I was trying to divide that equally up amongst 10 people, then I'd do my 40 mils divided by 10, okay? And we're trying to think of it that way. We're trying to equally divide it, all right? When we get an equal division of that, when we get an equal proportion of everything out of that, that essentially gives us our 1%. That gives us our 1% of that total, all right? So in this one, 40 divided by 10, what do you get there? 4, okay? So what that means is 1% is worth 4 mils. 4 mils equates to sort of 1% of that product, okay? So if you had 100%, then you'd simply say, well, if I times that by 100, 100% of that would be 400 mils. If I had 100% of that solution, let's just say it's a type of liquid, all right? And what they're saying is that 10% of that liquid is 40 mils, all right? You reduce that down to say, well, what's 1% worth? And when you've found 1%, you can simply multiply it by however much they're asking of you, all right? If we look at this one here, okay, how would we go about that? We would be saying it's this total divided by the percent. That would give us 1%. So this total, try to do that on your calculator, please, divided by 53. That'll give us what 1% is worth, and that's worth three elephants, 3 rats, $3. Okay, so that's worth $3. 1% is worth $3. All right, so 100%. What would we do with that 3 there, Greg? Just times by 100. Good stuff, mate. Times it by 100. That means if you had 100%, okay, if you had 100% of it, you'd have $300. What they're telling you in the question is that when you have, when you have 53% of it, you have $159. Okay, going on that pie analogy. All right. When you have 53%, just over half, you have $159. How much would you have if you had the total? You'd have $300. Now, that's relatively simple, I hope. How would we go about this one, Sam? 38 divided by 95 would give you that 1%, and then you times it by 100. Okay, so you get the picture there. Let's go to a worded question, which sometimes can be the issue for us. Find 40% of an injection if 5% is 7 mils. Okay? So when you get these type of questions, you just need to identify the commonality or the common things. All right? Now the common things come in here. All right, we've got an injection. That's my terrible attempt at that. Okay, we've got our injection, and they're telling us that 5% of that, just 5%, is 7 mils. All right, at 7 mils that's 5% of the total solution. Okay, how do we go about that, Sam? Okay, they're the ones in common, they're the ones that relate to each other. We're going to be doing 7 mils divided by 5. That gives you 1.4 mils. Okay? 1% is worth 1.4 mil. So every 1% is 1.4 mil. 2% is 2.8. And so we go. Yeah? So they're asking you, if 1% is worth 1.4 mils, how many mils in 40%? How many mils? Alright, what do we do to the 1.4? Times it by 40 this time. Okay, we just times it by the 40 because they're only asking you what is 40% of that. They're asking just under half, what is 40% of that? So 40 times 1.4 gives you 56 mils. So on here, it would read 56 mils. That would be worth 40, that would be 40% of that solution. Okay? What are some common trends here? The common trend is the percentage always goes on the bottom, doesn't it? The percentage always goes on the bottom of our fraction. That enables us to find 1%. When we're reading the question, we've got to put together the common bits of information, or the information that relate to each other. Okay? What's the information that relates to each other in C? Find 72% of the contents of a bottle if 9% of the contents is 80 mils. What are the two common things there? 80 mils and 9%. Does the percentage go on the top or the bottom, bro? On the bottom. Good. So we're going to have, on that one, 80 divided by 9%. That'll give us 1%, and then we multiply it by however much they're asking us. On this occasion, they're asking for 72%. Okay? That'll go up on YouTube. You can watch it again and again if you want it. Alright? Can I explain that better, or let you loose on them? I'll let you loose on them and I'll come and see you, bro. Okay, so if you're doing your DI, I just want you to pay attention this way at the moment, please. It refers to the question around when you're trying to find a job in your future. Okay? They want you to find out how much money you'll get in that job. Alright? And then it talks about going to the Australian Tax Office website, and the link that it gives you doesn't quite do it. Okay? So I'm going to walk you through this process now. All you do is go to your favourite little search engine, okay, and you type in there ATO, which stands for the Australian Tax Office, okay. When you go there, this side will come up. You're an individual, all right, whatever you're going to be earning, that comes under individual. So you go to individual, when it works nice and swiftly. And down the left-hand column, eventually it'll come up with, there we go, find a rate or calculator. Find a rate or calculator. Then you go to income tax rates, and it'll come up with the chart that's presented before us. Okay, and what that chart shows us is varying degrees of finances that an individual could earn. And what this side says is how much tax you'll pay. So you as a part-time worker at the moment, Maddie definitely has got a part-time job. Who else has got a part-time job? Damo, you have. As you go through school, more and more of you will get a part-time job. Most of you will fall into this bracket, $0 to $18,200, earned over an entire year. Okay? So if you earn up to $18,200, you don't pay any tax at all. Okay? Which is nice. But what you'll find with your jobs is that you won't be earning under $18,000, because if you are, you're not going to be able to afford to live without mumsy and dadsy, whoever it is supporting you. All right? Which is a problem. So you're going to be up around this bracket's in here, hopefully $180,000 plus, but you know, we can dream, and that's what you should do at your age. Dream. Okay, so let's just pick a value. Let's pick $82,000. Okay, so what was that profession, Jazz? What profession was it, sorry?
A media sales advisor.
Media. All right. So that was working in media. All right. Working in media as an advisor, it gets you about $82,000. It goes anywhere between $80,000 and $99,000 for the year. Okay. But you're in your first year, so there's a fair chance you're not on the $99,000. You're probably on the 80, 81, 82. But for the purpose of this, we're going to say we're earning 82,000. Okay? So that puts you into this bracket here. Okay? It's just a fraction over $80,000, but it's well under 180,000, which would have tipped you into this one. All right? So you're in this bracket here, and this is the only thing that you need to concern yourself is this box here, and you can eliminate any other bits of information around the outside of it. So what this box here is saying to you, okay, from here, it's saying you're going to have to pay out of your $82,000, you're going to have to pay $17,547 of that to the government. Okay, so you never see that, 17,547. You never actually see that money. That leaves you with 5, 4, 7, 4. That leaves you with taking home at this stage $64,453. You earn $82,000, but you get to take home 64 at this stage, $64,453. Why does the government take $17,000 off you? Because they're greedy. I knew you'd say that, Ben. But it pays for public education, it pays for public hospitals, it pays for your roads that are in such good nick, etc., etc. It pays for all those things. Who else is going to pay for them?
Council.
The people have lots of money.
Where do council get their money from? Federal government. And then they tax you. That's right. So the federal government tax you, and then they feed it out. Okay? At the moment, you're losing $17,547, but there's a little bit that comes next. It says, plus, you're going to lose 37 cents in every dollar that you earn over 80,000. Okay? How many dollars do you earn over 80,000 in our example? You earn $2,000 over that. So for every one of those $2,000, you don't get that amount. You get, well, you have to pay $37 to the government there. So if you multiply that by 0.37, okay, 640. That 640 out of the $2,000 also has to go to the government. Okay? So you're paying 17,547 to the government plus your another 640 to the government. 7, 8, 11, 8, 1. So all up out of your 82,000, $18,187 is going to the government. Okay? What does that leave you in terms of your income? 82. Leaves you with 63,813. 63,813 is what you get to take home after earning $82,000. Okay, so taxation is used for your benefit. You earn it, you have to pay for it ultimately. And then there's a lot of other little complexities that we won't go into, like River Murray levies and flood levies and Medicare rebates and Medicare levies, sorry, and all these sorts of things that Will's dad gets to play with every day, unfortunately. But basically, about $63,813 is what you get to take home out of $82,000, and that's how to use an income tax table. Okay? If you need further help with it, when you find your employment, I will help you with that.